Well, hello, and we are back with another episode of Dance Gems. Today, we're going to talk about balance. Balance is, of course, a much used word and, thing, so to speak, in dance. Opposites in harmony, but we never do that without my good friend Ton. Ton Greten, let's see if he's there, the other half of the Dance Gems. Hey, Ton, are you there?
I'm there, Sean. Nice to see you. Nice to
Nice.
hear you.
Nice to see you all the way from the Netherlands, right? Hey, we're going to talk today about balance, opposites in harmony. Hope that rings a bell.
Uh, yeah, the title, Sean. You did a great job. Opposites in harmony. Yeah, this is everything what it tells about it. So we can stop with the podcast.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, balance. It's an interesting thing, right? If you are able to look now at the screen, right? If you watch us and not only listen to us, then we are in two equal squares. So that's kind of a balance, I would say.
Yeah, yeah,
What else? What else
absolutely.
do you think about if it comes to balance in general?
Oh, balance. Everything in life is a balance and has to make also with nature. The
Hmm.
first thing what comes up to me is if we have no rain, then it's not okay for some countries. If we have too much rain, that's also not okay for some country. So there need to be a balance, and also no sunshine or there is sunshine. So yeah, balance is something from the nature, I would say, and you need always two, I would say, maybe
At
even
least,
more,
at
at
least.
least two. Yes, and in dancing, because our podcast is related to dancing, I think also on physical balance and mental balance.
Yeah, yeah.
These two things. And you are a mental coach, so you have at least to say a lot about it. So that would be another podcast. But maybe you can say it in a short way what mental balance would have to do with your dancing and the
Yeah,
relationship with that.
mental balance has just a lot to do with you as a being, right? If you can feel if you are out of balance, right? So I measure it in my method is how is your self-talk. If you can quiet your mind, you can stop your worrying at times. It's okay to worry. You just need to be able to stop it at times. So you can sit in silence besides the other time of the days that you have an occupied mind. That's a balance, the balance between a silent mind and an occupied mind. So that's a very clear sign of if someone is balanced. If you also can wait to respond to someone, so then you also is a clear sign of having balance because that means I listen to you first, then I pause a little bit, and so I say always, do you listen to response or do you listen to understand? There's a balance in that. Um, so yeah, mental balance has a lot of aspects, but these are the, starting point for our next podcast. Maybe our next episode. Who knows? What do you think, Tom?
Yes, absolutely. That will be a new podcast, Mental Balance. I start first with um, and our relationship need a balance too, Sean.
Absolutely.
So when we dance and we dance in the group, we have a relationship with each other, and there need also to be balance in it. So when I would think about that one, and I would start first because it's a dance podcast, and mostly people think in the physical way
Yeah.
and balance. And we have a few points. I have it also in my book, and I will take it with me because I know everything about it. But I want to clarify it. We have our balance in say in the base of support and in the contact points on the floor. So when we stand on the feet in a vertical line, we have two contact points, our feet. But when we are on the hands and feet, we have four contact points, and the base of support will be larger or bigger. I don't know how you say it in English, but even you have
Yeah.
more of base of support.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you have contact points, the feet that are touching the floor or the feet and hand, and the wider you put them, your base of support will be wider. If you put them really close together, you know,
Mhm.
then you have a smaller base of support.
Yes, yes. And then also physical, your strengths. If you are stronger, you can, if you practice that, your muscles are more stronger. You can hold longer a position in balance. If the muscles are not trained, yeah, the balance will be less. And logical, if you do nothing about your physical training, you cannot expect to have a super balance. Maybe some people have that. That could be also.
Yeah.
But also, important point is Sean is the gravity and the gravity, say the center of gravity. Uh, with some people who have how we say big chest and big how we say the woman when they have
Breast.
big
Breast.
breast, yeah, breast. If these are bigger and you have a small taille and
Yeah.
small hips,
Waist. Small
waist,
waist.
yes, you are the point of gravity is higher. If the waist is more wider and you have small breasts, then the gravity point of gravity is lower. And and also what is important is the line of gravity, where the line is. You can be out of balance, that's a point what you could use for dancing, but you could be also in balance. So I will make I repeat the points again. We have our support points. We have our base of support. Then we have our gravity line and our center of gravity. And then the line of gravity. When you look from the side, from a human being, you could look to the ear. And when I would make a point there in my shoulder, in my hip, and in my ankle, in my joint of there, and you would take one line to it, one vertical straight line there to it, what is exactly imbalanced from the side, from the back and the front, from left and right, then there is a perfect balance. But each person is different and has also a different mindset. So, what I want to tell with that one, you have also your perceiving of information through your eyes, through your ears, through your feeling of your, how you call that, from the skin. And all together, that makes your gravity, your balance. And not to forget, we have the moon and we have the sun. And also
That's a
this
lot on.
yes, yes. You
You
can
put a
tell something about that one, Sean, because I'm talking a lot now. Yeah.
you put a lot of things. Well, I mean, what we talk about is there are a lot of things that influence your balance, right? It's your own body, how your body is formed. If you are a little bit heavier on the top than below, right? Then you have a shape that goes more like this, like a upside down pyramid. Then of course your gravity point is slightly different than when you have more like a pear shape. And so that's taken into account. The other thing that Tom was mentioning is your posture, right? If you have a posture that is maybe leaning more forward or more backwards or even sidewards. And that can all happen because of the work that you do. Um, all kind of things, always carrying a bag on your shoulder, then you get a little bit out of alignment in your posture, which can cause a lot of troubles. So that's one. And then we were talking about your contact points. There are people are we call them a little bit more toe walkers, right? They naturally walk a little bit more on the toe, and they don't use their whole feet. They have a slightly different balance than other people. And then, of course, let's not forget, with a fancy word that is called the gravity pull. We have the gravity pull, of course, from the Earth, you know, but we also have a gravity pull from the moon and the sun and all this planets that circle around us. There is a little gravity pull, and it sounds like a little, but if you look at the tides in the ocean, and in the sea, that you can see that the gravity pull from the moon is actually quite big. And the reason why we have high tide and low tide is because of the gravity pull of the moon, and we feel that also in our body. We're not always aware of it, but it is there. So there are a lot of things that you know influences our gravity.
Yes, yes, Sean, that's really important. And when you dance, day by day, your balance could be different because the
Probably
pull
is,
of
yeah.
the sun, of
Yeah,
the moon, and also your physical
physical.
strengths, how you feel, then also your mental strengths, all this together, it's not like the balance what you had yesterday is the same balance what I have today or what I have tomorrow. So there will be a slight difference, and this is why when I turn sometimes I make my periods. Then one day I can make three, and the other day, even after one, I will fall. Now I had a brain surgery 3 times, and my balance actually is now more or less, but still I practice my balance because it's important.
Yeah,
But still also my operation had a lot of influence on my balance, and
definitely.
I'm happy that you can train the balance. Now tomorrow I will buy new balance blocks where you can play games on it, and these are very colored. I like them. I will buy them tomorrow, 12 pieces, and you can do games on it.
Oh, nice.
Balance games. Yeah, I like that. And it's also even fun, Sean,
It's
to
always fun.
practice and balance. Yeah.
Did you practice your balance ball that we talked about, that balance board that we talked
Yeah.
about in the Dutch in the
Yes, yes,
Dutch
yes. And we have, yes, I have a balance board to turn. That's a turning board.
Yep.
You need balance for that one. Then we have the balance ball, and you can do exercise on it. And yeah, these are great tools to improve your balance. But even when you not have that tools, you can put a sock under your feet, and you squeeze it a little bit
Yep.
and then put it on it. Yes, then you have a similar effect.
Yeah, similar fact. Yeah, the moment you change your contact point and your base of balance, you will feel that you have to start to move your body, and that's actually what you then stimulate. Balance is not a static thing. Balance in the human body is actually a constant movement and adjustment, and to feel that sensation stronger, we use these tools to do that. Another word that we actually should bring into is, of course, we did a whole podcast about it, is proprioception. That is your
Yes.
awareness of your body in relations to yourself and the outside world, which has all to do with balance, I would say.
Yeah,
Um, s- we,
everything. Everything. And you can practice that also without all these materials. When you are
of course.
standing on 2 feet, and this is also important for your brains also, but also for your body to practice this. uh, when you close your eyes and you stand on 2 feet, some people have really a challenge to stay straight and not to fall. So when you would bring your weight on one foot
Yeah.
in a vertical line, and you would open your eyes, and it would be easy. You could turn your foot out, stand there, and no problem. So you raise the other foot. But if you close the eyes again on one foot, you could fall. But if you take a support on the wall from the wall, then it could help you. And if you want to develop more and you make the base of support, you make it smaller and you go higher on the toes, uh, this is again a challenge because the base of support gets smaller, your gravity, center of gravity gets higher, and then to keep the balance, that's a challenge. And the most challenging one is to close the eyes on the toes on one foot. That's really, phew, even I don't get that, Sean. That's really, really hard. But there are some people who can do that. They
Yeah.
have they practiced this so many times. They have tight muscles, and it's really incredible.
Yeah,
And
it's an important mention too, tight muscles, because if your muscles are too tight, you get out of balance too.
mm,
You
mm,
need to
mm,
let the muscles move. And that comes all down to that proprioception. Again, it's the ability, body's ability to sense its position and movement,
mm,
to main that and to practice, with one foot, eyes closed. Last time we even talked about if you also can close your ears, for instance, with a headset,
mm,
becomes even uh, more challenging.
mm, mm.
But you practice and train that sense of your body position in a different way, more from an internal perspective. So we often now, so you have that if you go, what is that park called in the Netherlands, the Efteling. You go
Ah, yes,
to Villa
that's
Volta, where the
something.
room,
Yes,
yeah, the room
mm,
moves around you. You actually are still sitting still, but when the moves around you, you also have the feeling that you are getting off balance. While if you would literally put those things away, you block your senses. Then now, of course, if then also they move you a little bit and they move the room around you a lot, then you are so confused.
yes,
It
yes,
makes me
absolutely.
nauseous. It makes me nauseous, and some people don't get nauseous at all um, from that.
This is why you can and actually maybe must use the gravity, the pull of the earth, that you can
Feel where the pool is.
feel
Yeah,
that, yes,
yeah,
yes, and
yeah.
use
Good.
that and
Yeah,
feel where it is and where it moves, and go with the flow, I would
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Yes, because what you see is not what you get there. That's something different. So you have to trust on
Yes.
a different
Yeah,
a
yeah,
different
yeah,
senses, and that's your
yeah,
proprioception, your feeling.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So these things are trying to, of course, trick your senses, and therefore you see that has a huge effect of your balance. You want to correct something while you don't have to correct anything, because the gravity pull is always downward, right? At least in the normal sense in the world. you know
Yes,
if you look at the movie Avatar, then they have other things which is of course not possible, but it looks really cool, right?
yeah,
So it is that, and you see these balance artists, they always want to trick our minds also, because they do something that seems impossible from a gravity of balance point of view. And it
yes.
started with these tightrope walkers, right? They take this huge long pole, so they have a
Mm.
longer line of balance, and so it's easier for them to maintain. If they make it really small, it's harder to maintain the balance.
Yes, and the center of gravity for each person, this is different. We
Yeah,
told already, but it's people think it's the center of the body, but it isn't. With some
it's
people,
not.
it's the center of the body. Maybe from the 3D volume, you go to the middle. It has not to be. Uh, exactly the middle of the body. So when your body is moving and it goes around, your center of gravity moves with you at a certain point. It's not stable. It changed.
Yeah, it changes the mass of your body in relationship to the lines of where you keep the mass. If you keep the mass exactly in the middle, which dancers never do, well, felders very seldom, it's relatively easy to maintain your balance. The moment you start to move, or you start to hang, or you start to lean forward, you need more muscle tension to
Mm.
maintain that mass in an upright position. And that becomes interesting. You could see that already, Tom, in a young kid's development when they start to walk. Their head is relatively heavier than when they
Mm.
grow up. So what they do, Tai Chi uses that. They start to put their body under their head. So they often
Mm.
go like this. So we now
Mm.
do it
Mm.
like this, but that's not how a kid would do it. The kid put their body under their head. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And that's actually a balance exercise that they learn from. That's pretty intelligent if you think about it, because they learn very early on to use balance as a constant changing dynamic. Balance is not a static
Yes.
thing.
No.
That's important to let the kid do that. They need to feel that they have to move to maintain your balance. So you see that often when people get in shock, they do this and then they fall. If they would relax and
Mm.
go into it, they would not fall. You did judo, so did I. Other martial arts sports, they use that a lot to stay in, catch your balance again, is what we sometimes say.
Yes, yes, Sean. I had a other question.
Yeah,
The balance organ in the
yeah,
ear,
yeah.
the vestibule, how you call this? Vestibular system.
Vestibular system, yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can tell something about that one because this is also quite important for our balance and our brain and the connection from that one, from the ear to the brain.
Yeah.
So, yes,
Yeah. So
that's.
first of all, the way Ton and I think about these things is maybe slightly different than other people do. So we talk often about the receptors of the things, like we see with our eyes, but our eye is actually only a receptor of the light in the pictures we see, and our brain is doing something with it, right? It's creating these images. Same thing when we hear. The ears, the organ ear is the receptor of the sound, but we need to use our brain to make sense of that. Now, that is also true, actually, of course, with the balance organ in our ear. So we have two of them, right? And they are connected to our hearing. And therefore, sometimes when you hear a really sharp sound, you kind of feel that you get out of balance. Some people get dizzy from it. That's one thing. But there are actually three almost closed circles. They call it even semicircles. I don't know how to say that in English actually, but there are three, and they are almost in a 3D form, right? One is up, the other one is almost horizontal if you would have your head straight, and the third one is diagonal almost. It's almost like that. And there are little these tubes are filled with fluid, and there are little I would call them stones. That is not the correct word, but and they move actually over the senses in the tube, and that when that all works well, you can actually use that organ. But there could be some things that is wrong with it. You could have inflammation in there. It's a very common thing when people have that, and you see that when people get more dizzy when that's inflamed. Did you know that sometimes the fluid actually doesn't is not fluid at all anymore? That's a really serious problem, and people cannot maintain their balance because that would mean these little stones would stuck. They don't move then anymore. Does that make sense, Don? So you have to look it up a little bit. It's quite interesting. Vestibular system in fancy word, but you can just say your balance organ. And we didn't talk about it, but balance and trauma and that's vestibular system and trauma recovery actually are very close related. People with trauma often start to notice what we call vertigo. Vertigo is you get very quickly dizzy and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, interesting stuff. Sorry, getting a little bit too medical, maybe. Your sound is off, Ton.
Sean, interesting is what we do the most in our life. I don't hope sitting and lying on the in bed, but walking
Walking,
actually.
huh? Yeah.
Yeah, we walk,
Mm,
but
yeah.
in dancing we walk also in dancing different ways than walking how we do in our daily life, but still we walk. And I have an interesting book about balance. We had it also in the Dutch podcast.
Yeah. Oh,
She
chi running.
walking,
Yeah, chi
she
running.
running, and
Yeah.
she walking because you have also walking, and they play with the balance. They play by falling,
Yeah.
how the feet comes under the body, and they use the gravity because you have then less injuries. So you have two different techniques actually. They speak, maybe you have more, but this two is what I know. You can push from your back foot, from the back leg, you push your body forward, or the ski running, you use the falling from out of balance and quickly that your leg will come under the body, and then you have less injuries and you use less energy from your body, so you save a lot of energy, because then when you save energy you have more power to keep longer your walking and keep longer. So in dancing actually you have the same. If you be aware that you can push from your back leg or that you just fall out of balance, you get two different things, and people are not so busy with that one. So the point of gravity, where you just fall, that's really the most beautiful thing to experience.
Yeah, it's a very nice. I had very pleasure to meet this guy, or this guy that doesn't sound so respectful, Danny Dreyer. He probably don't remember it because it was some sort of a workshop. Because chi running is a combination of running and tai chi. Actually, that's where the word chi running is coming from. But he's doing exactly what you say. He teach. I mean, the book writes about it. You actually constantly in an overbalanced state and an off balance state. You constantly fall just a little bit, right? Because you push your gravity point over your point where you normally would stand still, and it costs so much less energy when you run. And it has a lot of help. You don't have to catch your body every time when you land. That's another really good thing in the chi and the chi running. Fantastic to experience. And yeah, I see you use it, by the way, a lot in your dancing, where you let your gravity do the work for you at time, which is it's fantastic to watch. I think it has. Do you think it has also to do a little bit with trust, Tom? Because
Yes,
because your
absolutely.
primal fear is falling, right? I think we
Yeah.
mentioned that one time, that the primal fear of everyone, they all
Mhm.
have it, is the fear of falling. So so um so it has, I
Yeah,
think it has to.
trust. Yes, but now I'm a far distance. Bad joke is I cannot catch you now, Sean, when you fall.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but yes, you need to trust each other. So when you are in a group, you can use it as a tool, and out of balance, you can call it.
Yeah.
You let yourself fall, and somebody could catch you, and then the other one throws you to another team member, and they will catch you, and then continue. That is super. And you have also
Super.
something like crowd surfing
Oh
in
yeah.
in the horizontal way. That's also trust. To have
Yeah.
trust that somebody will catch your body
Yeah.
to keep it in balance in the horizontal way.
Yeah.
So when you would have the feeling that you would fall, that's really scaring.
Yeah.
And but it's wonderful to see in the
Scary.
festival when somebody jumped in the crowd and then full trust that somebody would catch him.
Yeah.
And yeah, most people catched it, but I saw also videos where people thought,
Step
okay,
aside.
yeah, step aside, bye bye.
Bye bye. But that first exercise, I know you do that with the group. I am planning to do that this Sunday, by the way, with my group.
Okay,
So
perfect.
if they do that fall off balance, and then you know already because you have done it multiple times. But if you then let the people close their eyes and do that fall from one person to the other where they get pushed, that's when trust comes in. Uh,
Yes.
big time. And even yeah, no, it's weird and
It goes right in your stomach when
goes
you
right in your
do this the
it go,
first time. Oh,
it
and
goes
it's
right in.
really, really
Yeah,
scaring. And when you close your eyes, even it gets even more scaring
yeah,
because yeah, you don't see the distance and you
you
don't know
don't.
the timing when they would catch you.
If they
So
were
be
strong
very
enough,
yeah,
all that kind
yeah,
of stuff.
yes.
But if you
Be
go
careful.
back, yeah, go back to your book, Dance Gems, Dance from a Different Perspective. I'm just going to make a commercial here. So
Oh,
we
thanks,
talk
Sean.
about we talk about actions a lot in
Yeah.
what actions do you have, and a couple of actions we describe in there is for instance leaning. Now, if you lean and you hold, like say the bar in a ballet studio, you kind of used already. They have bars that are solid in the wall. That's easy, but you also have bars that are not solid in the wall. So I would invite you to test it. But if Ton and I would dance together, we have to have full trust that Ton um, can hold me. But the strange thing is that leaning does not have to cost a lot of energy. It costs a lot of
Mhm.
energy if Tom doesn't change his balance either. So if I start to hang and he does not hang to the other side, I can tell you Tom has to have a lot of strength to hold me, and I'm not a heavy
Yeah.
guy. But if he
Yes.
counterbalance, what we call counterbalance, is more or less, of course, using this opposite movements, very simple exercise, then you can feel your balance. And it's quite fun. Then we can lean to each other, we can
Yes.
hang to each other, and it's
I
quite fun to do.
You can also put it in stages.
Yep.
So when I would lean to the wall, when I
Hmm.
would be a wall in dancing,
Yeah.
and my arm would be straight, and then I just bend it immediately, then I will fall. When I not catch it, I will completely fall, or I fall through the shoulder, and then I go through my knee, and I go slowly down in steps that are fall, and at the end I'm down on the floor. And once the gravity or the pull from the earth, it's totally you are on the floor. There is no way that you can fall anymore out of balance. If you have problems with your ear or your brain and you are on the floor and the world turns around you when you drink a lot, sometimes you have that, drink alcohol,
Yep.
then it's a really scary feeling when you are feel you are lying on the floor and still you have a feeling of falling.
Yeah, you have the feeling of falling backwards. It's a very nasty feeling. Nasty. I hate that feeling when that
Mhm.
happens. Definitely. Or if you bump your head really hard, you can have that same sensation. If you can. But that's a good. That's actually a nice other topic that has to do with balancing gravity. We can also do almost a whole podcast around gravity, Tom.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
because not in all dance forms, but a lot of dance forms want to make things appear light. We see that in classical ballet. We see that in a dance like a waltz. We on purposely would like to be appear light, which cost actually more strength than just completely go into gravity. You
Yeah.
go with against
A
gravity
looks
up.
light.
It looks
Yeah.
light. We want to make it appear light. But if you think about it, make things appear light costs more energy. Giving
Yes.
into gravity, which is, by the way, even there, Tom, because of our uptight society, it's harder. I always think that's an easy thing to do, but if I say to people, give in to gravity because of our uptight society, people have a little bit of a challenge with that to just give in to gravity. You're on mute, Tom.
Sorry, Sean. When going to dance and I go to dance on the floor, we have few different things. We have our static dynamic, but it's
Yep,
not actually static because it's always
I like the
moving.
word. Yep,
Yes, and then we have our how I could say dynamic balance, static balance and
yep.
dynamic balance. Static will not say you are still, but it yes,
Minimum movement.
minimum on movement. But when I move through space time, then I need to balance that body in that body and play with that balance. That's the most beautiful thing what there is. And it's not just dancing steps or learning steps, but also learn how you use the balance as a instrument. And this is what we actually do the whole day, Sean. And then we have on balance and off balance, and both are tools. And we are not sometimes not realize that these are tools. You have more of these tools, Sean?
Yeah, you have, of course, your awareness of the space is also a tool, right? Don't know if that's what you mean.
Yes.
But most of the time in normal life, we do what we call it's called automatic adjustment. You know, when you walk, you
Mm-mm.
automatically adjust. Now, when you learn how to dance, we often go away from what, therefore, Ton and I hardly use the word in dance natural
No,
because
no, not
then
exist.
yeah they
Natural, not exist in
so we
no.
don't use that because why would you in dance if it would already exist only go for the natural? We make movements that you just make for the sake of making that movement just because it's
Yeah,
fun or we want to express something. um,
yes,
and so there is not immediately, of course, an automatic adjustment. So a lot of students will say, oh, Ton, that is so hard, I cannot do it, doesn't feel natural. And Ton would say, it doesn't have to feel natural. So then we play with the balance, right? You could actually arguably say that dancing is a play with balance all the time in a more extreme way than in day to day life. Yeah?
yes, absolutely, Sean. So you have also I mentioned space time,
Yeah.
but if I would translate space in volume
Yeah.
and time in duration, you
Hmm.
could play with the volumes from your body
Nice.
parts
I
and
like
the
that a lot.
duration from your body parts
Yeah. I like
into
it a
the
lot.
on balance and off balance. And
Yeah.
if you could use that, it gets magic. And if you have enough mobility and enough power, and you did a lot of exercise, it gets so natural what it isn't, but it gets in harmony. And the same with music. There is no natural music. There is just music. So there
Yeah.
is actually
Yeah.
also not natural movement. It's in when it sounds for you in harmony, then the sounds are in harmony for that music.
Yeah.
But if you would take one sound of it, then it sounds strange for you in the beginning, but you can use on the sound connection. If you want sound is out of you, it sounds not like in harmony, but it could be also in movement. If you would do the movements how you used to do it, and you do one movement not what you did before, then somebody who knows the routine would say, something different, something wrong there. But it isn't,
Yeah.
because if you want to do it like that from your conscious, then the volume and the duration is what you choose at that moment with that body part. And that actually is really nice to discover in the on balance and off balance. And people, I talk now along, but they practice too much steps, in my opinion, or steps or movements, and they repeat them so many times that it looks very mechanically. And the flow is somewhere out of it. So actually, there's nothing wrong or good, but a different treatment to the movement. Yeah, with these elements, what I said just before, that's the beauty. That I like that. I think that's for
It's
me the beauty.
Yeah, no. We of course we would not be the dance jams if we were not on the same page if it comes to this. But so to give an example, let's say you do some walks, whether that's a Roomba walk or another defined walk, doesn't really matter so much, and we do it the same time all over again. But I would just challenge the listeners. If you change the form of your upper body by just maybe sticking one arm out and do the same walk, you would feel that your balance would change. You want to stay in the same upright position. You need more body. You need more muscular side on one, but you can also lean a little bit more to the other side to balance your body mass out. And I would try both. I would not say no. We have to stay upright. I said try to cut yourself a little bit loose and try that the form, if it's not symmetrical, we will explain that in another podcast, that it affects your balance. And the effect of the balance is what Tons talk about. If you go away immediately from right or wrong, you will discover so much more. If you want to do it entirely symmetric and the way your teacher told you, we're happy for you. We're not saying they shouldn't do that, but we say, changing, playing with your gravity point. In our terms, dance jams very often play with the form that you take, right? By yourself or with your partner, would change your balance. And to discover that, there is so much beauty in that. That's what I think, Tom.
Yes, and also what could help you. Thank you, Sean. That was really beautiful because symmetric and asymmetric has a lot of influence on your balance and of the point of the mass and the point of, say, the center of gravity. And we have also the word imaginary. So when you could imagine to when you would turn to be in concrete with the body, half of the body, maybe when you have this imagineering, it would support your imaginary thoughts to stand more stable. And if you think to open the toes more and make it like a cow flat, I don't know how you call this in English. Yes, when you open your feet more, then you could imagine, uh, yeah, that it's uh, you are more stable. That's really the beauty of imaginary. That's another point, and you have a nice book about that one. I can take it. That's Eric Franklin here. Yes.
Talks about Franklin talks also about the opening. Yeah, very nice book, and I know that book because Franklin is also known for opening and closing the pelvis section. He called it fen, if I forgot. That's the another
Yeah,
fen.
something like that.
Yeah, and it affects your balance. So when you close the back of your body, you have a different. See, I do it now a little bit. You have a
Mhm.
different balance than when you close the front. Um, it's fascinating what he comes up with.
And
That's
his pictures are so exciting
yeah,
to see that.
yeah,
Yeah, I just a few of them, but I like them a lot. Yes, I show them in a video now,
yeah,
but it's his pictures in that book. It's really, really, really fantastic, and yeah, that would be a nice man to interview and to get in our podcast. And here I have another one, Sean, to do the subject imaginary.
yeah.
Yes, and This is the beauty of it, because there are so many points what can help you with your balance. And yeah, that's we said already many points, but healthy, to be healthy and to be positive helps also, because when your mental are not so positive and you are negative and you try to force it, actually you not accept that you not have balance on that point.
Yeah,
You cannot force it. It's all points must get to the right point to say it like that, to be in balance, and accept it that you are sometimes off balance, because every day is a different day. So, and also, me as a human being, sometimes I have also mental very bad days that I'm have an off day and don't feel so happy. That's normal. That's really normal. But some days I'm over happy and very happy, and there is some balance in that one. That's the behavior what you, from a human being, what is there. So it
yeah, that's
changed day by day.
yeah, that's a nice philosophical point, I would say, Tom, because if you look everything from a small time perspective, then at this
Mhm.
moment I might be in balance or I might be unbalanced feeling of life. But if you look at your wider lifespans, yeah, it goes in and out of balance, and but your overall life is then still in balance. That would be quote unquote healthy, right? But there
Yes,
are
yes, yes.
moments that you are not in balance, the moment you don't feel so good, maybe worry too much. At moments, you don't immediately have to correct that.
Mhm. And this, when you have that off day in your head, it is also a reflection to your body. Think about
Absolutely.
that one. So
Yeah.
you have an off day and you go to your dance training
Yeah.
or whatever, which training it will be, it has a reflection on that body. So try to get out of that one and
Yeah.
start to find the body. And this is why I do the exercise to get slowly in it, the proprioception exercises with music, with the sounds, to find the flow and come to yourself. This is the most important, but I can imagine that it's that you are stay in that flow. So what I do then is to hit myself, make myself aware, put some music, move first my head, then my shoulders, my arm, and then start to get slowly in it, to breathe. Inhale, exhale, have my drinking with me, my water, and slowly I get awake and slowly I get in balance.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. And then, but if the so balance is not the same as keeping everything in the middle. Yeah.
No, no,
So
no, 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 no,
so
no. That's
the
not possible. How
yeah
you
the
want to do that, Sean?
the
Explain
term.
me that one.
Well,
Yeah.
I can't. But that's sometimes that's when people say you play it safe, right? You keep everything in balance. So there is a nice word that comes into play, of course, that is equilibrium. And that is two sides keep everything in balance, right? But that's called an equilibrium. But it doesn't mean that if I dance with someone else, that the other person has to be exactly like me to
Mhm.
create an equilibrium. Does
I
that make
will take
sense?
a. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. Continue with talking. I will take a stick, Sean. Go.
You'll take a stick. Yeah. So if you look at a seesaw as a kid's plaything on a playground, then the seesaw is on both sides equally long. So if you put two kids on that seesaw, and in the Netherlands we say whip up. But if you put them, because the seesaw in a playground is on two sides equally long. So if Ton and I, we have almost the same body mass, we can play that. But if I would play with a small kid, then my side could on. But if you could change the length on one side and the other, as the scale often has, the old fashioned scale, then you already have two variables: the length of the seesaw on either side and the mass of on the two sides. And see in dance, if you build it up, that's what the dance jam does too. It looks at every individual thing that you can use to play balance. Very often
Mm.
we want to change all variables, and you don't become aware of changing one variable first, see what happens, change the other variable first, and then see what happens. All right,
Yeah.
Ton, go with
Yeah.
your stick.
Yeah. See your life as a stick.
See you live
And
as a stick.
yeah. And what I want to tell with that one is exactly what you told just. When I put the stick vertical, so people who look to the video, they can see it, then my base of support is quite small.
Yep.
So what happened is when I have it here, I go to left, I go to right, I go to left, I go to right. So I'm the whole time go forward, go backward. Yes, I try to get that stick. Yeah, I try to get it in balance. Well, when my base of support is much wider, like now in a horizontal way, it's quite easy. But when I make it small, here, I have to find the middle. Still, I'm looking left and right, left and right, left and right. It's never still, Sean. It's never still. And your life, you can see it as the same. And when you dance, it's exactly the same. It's always find somewhere the balance. You go to left, to right, to forward, to backward. Yes. Mm. Oh, I don't can hear you, Sean.
There's only one
Yeah.
moment when you're really still, and that's
Yeah.
when you're dead.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes.
but
And still then,
even then, it's not still
yes,
because you go into decay. But another
yes.
simple thing to see is the Earth keeps spinning, right?
Yeah.
And we spin it, so there is never, and that's definitely if you and then I say it one more time in the context of jam. Ton and I always talk about everything is a process, everything is a continuum of things. So yeah, for a moment, for a book, for instance, we capture things in pictures, and so what you see, because sometimes people think in pictures, in dance they wanna make pictures, and actually that cannot be. What you want to create is movements, and it's always a constant movement, and it could be the movement could be so slow in time space that it appears to be still, but do know that it is never still. and
No.
and
Yeah.
and and that creates different balance in movement. By the way, I want to say something about that too now that I'm talking about it. Do you know that if you let people with trauma experience and you let experience them the difference of balance in speed, it helps them to overcome trauma. In the beginning they don't want to move, and they want to keep the balance like this, completely in still. But if you let them move a little bit slower first, find their balance, then a little bit faster, find the balance, change maybe the shape, find their balance, it is very beneficial for trauma healing.
Yeah.
It's incredibly research behind that. Um,
I yes. But balance is also very important for your health, Sean.
yeah.
Not only the mental
Oh yeah.
balance,
Of
but
course.
also the physical balance. Because
Absolutely.
if you train your body with the mobility and the strength exercises, you are already prepared on something what will happen in the future for you. Because when you're not trained that body, mental and physically not, and something happened with you, you have no how you say backup extra to 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 stay a little bit more in balance, because then it's everything also really more terrible. And if you practice exercise also for the dancing, because dancers extremely practice very hard, and not only left right, there are diverse. When you look to some sports, dancing is really, really diverse, not only in left and right, but also in the different muscle tensions what they use, and they've tried to find diversity in how they use the muscles, and this brings also balance in a routine. Because if you would only dance with the same muscle tension with the same effort, then yeah, then it's maybe imbalance for yourself, but for the audience they want also to have some opposite, some different, so off balance things what makes it excited.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally agree, Tom. Totally agree. Yeah, balance. Balance can be found in so many things. In the Dutch episode, we started with that. I mean, it's what you eat, of course.
Yes.
That's nutritional. That can take you on and off balance. It needs to be a balanced diet, is what we say. Uh, um, we have, of course, you have financial balance. you have so
Yes,
many.
yes, yes.
You have so
But
many
for the
things to have.
nutrition back, Sean,
Hmm.
it's what you said. When I get 2 kilo, I get on, it gets slowly for myself then off
Yeah.
balance. So then I do a small diet, no sugar, less sugar, because I like sugar. So I do less sugar, and I get again for myself on balance, also for my exercise. But too much off weight, and I put another 4 kilos off. Yeah, my partner would say, Ton, you will get crazy, you get too thin. So, and this is why you have also people who get the illness of it, of to get off off weight, and and this is also important to stay body weight in your balance range where you are. And if you're not happy anymore and you get a lot of kilos on, try to work again to your optimal balance what you had. It's everything is mindset in that one also. Also for your dancing.
Yeah, it is. Um, all right. So for some reason, for a moment, hopefully the recording went well. I think the Wi-Fi went a little bit weird on one side. Don't know which side it is, but anyhow, we are coming to the end of our podcast. It was exciting to talk about this tone balance. It seems like there's so much more to discover. Balance is such a big thing in dancing and in life, as you said. So exciting. Not done with the topic yet, dear listeners and dear viewers. So we will come back to it. This was, our exploration of it. That's normally how we do these things. Is there anything more you want to say about balance, Tom?
No, everybody, each person have a different balance and a different mind of balance. So stay in balance and try to find the balance where you was most happy in your life. And if you can find that point, yeah, compliments.
Yeah. Yeah, I would only add to that. Don't be afraid also to challenge your balance as
Yeah.
well, and so because that brings also balance in your life. All right, this
Yes.
was another episode of the dance jams. I liked it a lot, Tom, but that's just a personal opinion. It's more important, whether you listeners and viewers appreciate what we do. We sometimes get good reactions, but if you want us, well, we often get good reactions. But if you want us to talk about a certain topic, or you have some questions around dance and movement, then please feel free to let us know. I will, if I don't forget, I will mention Eric Franklin's book and work in the podcast. We always try to do that. I mean, it's an it's about and the chi running. Yep, thank you for the reminder, Tom. Those were the two books that we brought into discussion, very spontaneous, because we were talking about balance. And from here, I already say bye bye, and I'll see you hopefully and hear you in the next podcast on. And of course, our viewers and listeners, thank you for listening and
Yeah.
watching us.
Goodbye. Have a beautiful day and enjoy your life.
And enjoy your life. Yes, and I would not stop this podcast without telling you where you can find us. I'll start the music already, and then I'll say, see you next time, Tom. This
See
was,
you
of
next time,
course,
Sean. Thank you
balance.
for listening.
Exactly, balance opposites in harmony. And you can find us on Spotify at Dance Dash Jams or on our YouTube channel at Ton Greten /podcast, or you can find us on our own website jam.dance /podcast. And with that, we'll say to you next time. Bye bye.
Goodbye.